Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture series of C programming language. We are in our lecture number 13. In this lecture, let us learn about control statements, which is a continuation to the last lecture, where in the last video we learned about the introduction part of the control statements, why we need to go with the control statements and what actually control statements are. And in that we learned about we have three types like selection statements, iterative statements and transfer statements. And we started learning about the selection statements, where as part of the selection statements we already learned about simple if else and nested if else. I request you all go through that video once to learn about simple if else and nested if else with syntax, a flowchart and example. So in this lecture, we'll continue with the if statement, where we need to learn about the fourth category of Elsif ladder, and we'll see the second type of switch statement. Right? So Elsif ladder is nothing but we already learned about the third category, which is our nested if else, where in that case we learned about we have if else option, and in that if else option, in the if block again you can have an option of adding if else block, if else condition. Right? So if you have such an option, then it is called as a nested if else. Now exactly opposite to this one, where in the else if ladder you can have if else, again in the if else, in the else part you can have one more if else. You can see here you will have simple if else, and in the if else, in the if you will be writing, if the condition is true you will be writing the statements whatever you want to execute, and then if you have else part, and in the else part will be executed. Okay, here there is a mistake, you can make a note of this one, this A is not there, simple only else, ELSC will be there. Right? Now if the condition is false, you will be entered into the else part. In the else part you can check here, you will have if else. So exactly opposite to your else if ladder, if nested if else, where in nested if else you will be having if else here, but in the else if ladder you will be having if else in the else part. You can see here the flow chart, where you will be checking the condition first. If the condition is true, then these statements will be executed and it will come out of that one, and you have the other statements to be executed. But suppose if this condition is false, that means this condition is false, you will be moving into the else part, where in the else part, that is your false part, again you will be checking the condition and you will be checking that condition. If it is true, this will be executed and these statements will be executed. Now still if you want, again in the else part you can add one more else if. One more if else can also be added. So it depends upon your application, whatever you want to do. Let us learn this one in detail with a simple example. If you see here, I have taken two variables A and B, and if the two variables are equal, then it will be executing the if block, that is you will be getting an output like A is equal to B. Suppose if they are not equal, then it is the condition of false, then it will enter into the else part. Then in the else part you have a normal statement, and then again you have if else. So depending upon the true, it will be executed. If it is false, this else part will be executed. Or else if you want, if your application requires, then again in the else part you can add one more if else. So in the else part you are adding if else, that's why it is called as else if ladder. Got it all of you? And again I am repeating which I told you in the last video, that if you have a single statement like this in your block, then no need to put the flag braces. So let us learn one more example behind this one, where we are using the else if ladder. Now if you observe here, I am asking the user to enter the percentage, and this percentage will be stored in a variable called P. And if the P value is greater than 79, I am displaying he as a distinction, he or she as a distinction. Suppose if the person is not acquiring the 79 greater than 79 marks, then this condition will be false, then it will go to the else part, and again it will check whether the value is greater than 59. If it is true, this will be displayed, or else again in the else part you will be having if else. So let us check the test conditions. Initially I am giving the value of 80, and if it is 80 is greater than 70, which is true, so you will be getting an output of distinction, and after executing this one, this complete thing will be bypassed and it will come out of this one. Right? You will have one more, it will be asking the percentage, will be giving 60, and 60 is greater than 90, which is false, it will enter into the else part, and this this is completely the else part. It will check this one. If P60 is greater than 59, which is true, so you will get an output of first division and this complete part will be skipped. Right? We'll have one more test case. 40. Here the condition is false. It will enter here. Here the condition is false because 40 is greater than 59 is false. It will enter here. And 40 is greater than 39 is true. You will get an output of second division. And this part will be skipped. Observe here, as we have only one statement, I have not put the flower braces. And 30, if you take, this condition is failed, this condition is failed, this condition is failed, you will get an output of fail. Got it, all of you? But what is the problem with this else if ladder is the number of alternatives, if goes on increasing, then it leads to the confusion. Got it, all of you? If you go on adding the statements, like number of conditions increase, like suppose for 4 conditions we need to write this much of code, and to check which statement comes under which block, it is a little bit confusing. To avoid this one, we have an option called a switch statement, where this is exactly does what your else if ladder do, but here it makes us more understandable format. We can write the statements in more understandable format, where we'll be having a switch, which is a keyword, and then we'll be writing the expression, and here the expression gives one value, and remember here it is not true or false, it is a value. Now you will be having some cases. Case is a keyword, case 1, case, like that you can have n cases, and whatever value it matches, that case will be executed. And after executing that case, you can have a break statement, which is an optional. If you put this break statement, then if this expression value matches with this case value, then these statements will be executed, and then the break statement, if it is there, then the remaining cases will be suspended, that means bypassed, and after executing this one, it will come out of this loop. Got it, all of you? Now how the evaluation will be done? Suppose an expression is, we got one value. Now it will check with the first case, if it is matching with this first case value or not. If it is not matching, it will go with the next case. If it is not matching, it will go with the third case. Suppose in the third case the value is matching. In that case, the statements will be executed, and then if you have a break statement, then the control will come out of this switch statement. Got it, all of you? If you don't have a break statement, then the next case will be automatically executed. Right? Suppose if this expression value is not matching with any one of these cases, then you can have one more case which is called as a default case, which is again an optional thing. If you want, you can add. If you don't want, you can simply skip this. But if any case, no case is matching with this expression value, then the default will be executed. That means the statements in the default will be executed, and after executing the default, it will come out of this switch statement. Okay, this is the flow chart of your switch statement. The expression will be evaluated. If it gives the value of 1, this first code block will be executed, and if you write break, then it will come out of this one. If you don't write break, it will come to the next case. Got it, all of you? So whichever case it matches, that case will be executed. So we can see a simple example here. You will be asked, let us consider you are asking the user to enter a grade. I have given a grade, like let us consider A for the first time. Then here the value is A. Now it will check with one case. First case it will check A is matching with A. Yes, then this you will be getting an output like printf. You will be getting an output like excellent. And after executing this statement, you have a break. So control will come out of this one. Okay, that is your first case. Suppose you give a grade value of B, let us consider. Then the grade will be checking, the B value will be checked with this one. It is not matching. It will go to the next case. Yes, here it is matching. Then there are no statements. Then what happens? Then there is no break statement also. It will go to the next case automatically. If there is no break, it will go to the next case, irrespective of the value. Then you will be getting an output of well done. Here also, if you see there is no break, it will go to the next case. You will get an output of passed. So in case of grade B value, you will get an output of well done and passed, and after that it will break. Why? Because we don't have any break statements here. Suppose if you give an output of D, a grade value of D, then case A is not matching, B is not matching, C is not matching, D is matching, then you will get an output of passed, and then you have a break, it will come out of this loop. Got it all of you? Suppose, let us see one more test case. The grade is given as X. Then A is not matching, B is not matching, C is not matching, D and F also not matching, and we don't have any other cases also. In that case, default option will be executed and you will be getting an output like invalid grade. And after this, no need to write break. Why? Because this is the last statement. Automatically it will come out of this one. Observe here, in the total switch statement, switch, grade, break, default are your keywords. And break statement and default statements are optional. According to your requirement, you can insert them or you can remove them. If you put the break, it will come out of this one. And if you put a default, if no case is matching with the given value, then the default will be executed. Got it all of you? This is how the switch statement will be executed. This is an exact replica of your else if ladder. Whatever else if ladder you are writing. See, if, else. If it is matching, then execute this one. Else, go to the next else part. Got it? This is how the else if ladder is exact. The switch is exact replica of your else if ladder. I hope you all are clear with this selection statement. So with this, we'll come to an end of our selection statements concept, where we learned about 4 types of if statement and 1 switch statement. From the next lecture onwards, we'll be learning about iterative statements in detail. And I want to tell you one point in the selection statements. All of you remember that selection statements will execute statement or block of statements only once. If the condition satisfies, that block will be executed once. If the condition is not satisfied, that statements will not be executed. So selection statements will give us an option of executing or not executing like once only. So 0 or 1 time the statements will be executed as part of your selection statements. From the next lecture onwards, we will be learning about the iterative statements and transfer statements. So let us all meet in our next lecture. Until then, thank you all of you.